William Golding was born in Cornwall in 1911 and was therefore a child during the Great War of 1914 and 1918, which cast a dark shadow on the prevailing optimism derived from the Victorian period about human progress. He attended Marlborough Grammar School and from there went up to Oxford, originally with the intention of reading science, though he switched subjects and graduated in English in 1933. Like his father before him, he became a teacher. In 1939, he married and a year later volunteered for the Royal Navy, in which he served until 1945. He saw action, took part in the D-Day landings in Normandy, and rose to the rank of lieutenant. After the war, he returned to teaching, taking a post at Bishop Wordsworth School, Salisbury, a boys' school. In 1954, Lord of the Flies, his first published novel, met with some critical attention, but it was not until 1962 that he was able to retire from teaching to become a full-time author. His publications are Lord of Flies, The Brass Butterfly, Free Fall, The Spire, The Hot Gates, The Pyramid, The Scorpion God, Darkness Visible, A Moving Target, The Paper Man, and several. So, several universities have conferred honorary doctorate degrees on him. He won the James Strait Black Memorial Prize and the Booker McConnell in 1980. And in 1984, he was given the Nobel Prize for Literature, the highest of all literary awards. Golding's Lord of Flies yields the power to rivet readers' attention and to pose questions about human nature, civilization, and evil. War is raging in the outside world, and it does not take long for the group of children stranded on what should be a tropical paradise to also erupt into violence. So, this is a novel that engages students in thought provoking discussions as well as one that provides the opportunity for students to practice literary analysis skills. Well over half a century since its first publication in 1954, William, the three lessons in this unit all stress textual evidence to support observations and generalizations. The assumption is that students have completed reading the novel before beginning the unit. Lesson 1 focuses on the four major characters as Laugh, Jack, Piggy, and Simon, and on ways William Golding used both direct and indirect characterization to portray them. Lesson 2 deals with major symbols, the island itself, the conch, the pig's head on a stick, fire. Students also consider ways the boys themselves can be considered as symbolic personality types. Lesson 3 grapples with Golding's themes related to human nature, the roles of law and authority, and the apparent inevitability of war. The central concern of Lord of Flies is the conflict between two competing impulses that exist within all human beings: the instinct to live by rules, act peacefully, follow moral commands, and value the good of the group, against the instinct to gratify one's immediate desires, act violently to obtain supremacy over others, and enforce one's will. This conflict might be expressed in a number of ways: civilization versus savagery, order versus chaos, reason versus impulse, law versus anarchy, or the broader heading of good versus evil. Throughout the novel, Golding associates the instinct of civilization with good and the instinct of savagery with evil. The conflict between the two instincts is the driving force of the novel, explored through the dissolution of the young English boys' civilized, moral, disciplined behavior as they accustom themselves to a wild, brutal, barbaric life in the jungle. Lord of the Flies is an allegorical novel, which means that Golding conveys many of his main ideas and themes through symbolic characters and objects. He presents the conflict between civilization and savagery in the conflict between the novel's two main characters, Laugh and the protagonist, who presents order and leadership, and Jack, the antagonist, who represents savagery and the desire for power. As the novel progresses, Golding shows how different people feel the influences of the instincts of civilization and savagery to different degrees. Piggy, for instance, has no savage feelings, while Roger seems barely capable of comprehending the rules of civilization. Generally, however, Golding implies that the instinct of savagery is far more primal and fundamental to the human side than the instincts of civilization. Golding sees moral behavior in many cases as something that civilization forces upon the individual rather than a natural expression of human individuality. So, Lord of the Flies finds expression in several important symbols, most notably the beast and the soul's head on the stake. Among all the characters, only Simon seems to possess anything like a natural, innate goodness. The theme is an attempt to trace the defects of society to the defects of human nature. The moral is that the shape of a society must depend on the ethical nature of the individual and not on any political system, however apparently logical or respectable. Thank you.